Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 61 to 65 of chapter 2. Tani sarvani sanyamya Yukta asita matparaha Vashe hi yasyendriyani Tasya prajna pratisthita Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha Sangasteshu pajayate Sangat sanjayate kamaha Kamat krodho bhijayate Krodhat bhavati sammohaha Sammohat smriti vibhramaha Smriti bhramshad buddhinashaha Buddhinashat pranashyati Ragadvesha vimuktaistu Vishayanindriyaischaran Atma vasyair vidheyatma Prasadamadigaccati Prasade sarva sarvadukhanam
prasade sarvadukhanam
hanirasyopajayate
hanirasyopajayate
prasannachetaso hyashu
prasannachetaso yashu
buddhi paryavatishthate.
buddhi paryavatishthate.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So last week I had given you more dimensions of these two phrases, prasanna chetasaha and buddhihi paryavatishtate. Prasanna chetasaha means the mind is tranquil. Buddhihi paryavatishtate means the intellect becomes steady. Now, this is the greatest wealth which you can acquire. If you can just pause for a few minutes and think about this question: what is the greatest wealth which I can acquire in life? Now, why I'm saying you should pause and ask yourself this question is because throughout your life, you're constantly trying to acquire something. You are either acquiring wealth in the form of money, or you're acquiring wealth in the form of relationships, or you're acquiring wealth in the form of knowledge, or you're acquiring skills, something or other. Your entire life goes away in acquiring something from the world, but you never ask this question to yourself: what is that which is the best which I can try and achieve? See, in the ancient wisdom, the great yogis, they follow two principles. The first principle is they never go against the mind. If your mind wants to acquire a lot of things, they don't say now stop acquiring. Because the moment you go against the mind, then the mind will start revolting. So they say, okay, fine, you acquire. But then they follow another principle, which is they say you do whatever you want to do, but never ever compromise. Always go for the best in life. As a sadhak, you need to practice that. We have a tendency to compromise. Whether it is the work output or whether it is the other areas of life like relationships, whatever it is, we tend to have a compromising attitude. We don't go for the best. Now what the yogis are saying is that you should develop this habit of always going for the best. Now the reason why they are saying this is, when you keep on developing this habit of not compromising, always going for the best, one day you will choose the best of the best, that is the infinite. Today your mind is not choosing the infinite, it is rather choosing something from the finite. Why? Because it has this tendency to compromise. So what the yogi says, even when you're acquiring something from the world, whatever it is that you're doing, develop this habit of going for the best. It is a beautiful principle which they are suggesting. Now, applying that principle to life in general, you are anyway acquiring so many things in life. Now, don't you think you should pause and ask yourself, what is the best which I can acquire? What is the best form of wealth which I can acquire? No one can say, I am not interested in wealth. If a person says, I am not interested in wealth, that person is being a hypocrite. Because your mind wants wealth in some form. Some people want money. Some people want what money can buy. It could be sense objects. Some people want knowledge. Some people want success. Some people want to develop some skills. Whatever it is, these are all different forms of wealth only. So since anyway your mind is going to acquire something or other from the world, the masters are saying, use that as a sadhana. Instead of stopping the flow of the mind, which is not possible to stop it off abruptly, they say, okay, go with the flow, but then go for the best. I'll explain what it means. It's a very, very deep principle, and the application of it has tremendous benefits, So, we will just make a small analysis. What is the best wealth which you can acquire in the world? So we will take a few examples. Like for example, money. Now how much would you say that if you acquire, that will be the best? It's not possible actually to fix a ceiling. But just for analysis sake, let's say you say 10 billion or 100 billion. Now you consider that as a best. Why? Because you say with 100 billion I can buy everything which I want in life. I want this particular brand of car, I can buy that. I want a very comfortable, nice house, I can buy that. So you go on listing. So if I have 100 billion, I will be having much more than what I require. Therefore, you say that this is the best which I can get in the world. But now you should think a little more deeply. Is it the best? What can money buy? Money can buy sense objects. Money can buy gross material things. But can you buy emotions with money? Can you buy love with money? Can you buy knowledge with money? You may buy books, but you cannot buy knowledge. So, no doubt money is very useful in certain areas of your life to fulfill your duties, to lead a comfortable life, to give you that financial security, especially when there is an emergency in life. So it is useful for all those things. But there is a limitation. You can't say it is the highest, it is the best. Then we'll take the example of emotions. You get into a lot of relationships. So that is emotional wealth. Now you say that is the best. Why? Because when I have good relationships with people, that gives me so much of satisfaction. It makes me so happy. All that is correct. The emotional relationships can definitely fulfill so many aspects in your life. But there are many aspects which it cannot fulfill. Like for example, with emotions, you can't acquire knowledge. You can't acquire skills. So no doubt emotions give you a lot, the relationships, but that you can't say is the highest. You can't say it is the best. Then you take the knowledge part. They say knowledge is power, no? Why? Because it is a very subtle form of wealth. So when you acquire knowledge, you feel, yes, now I'm knowledgeable, I've acquired the best in life. But again, think deeply. Here I'm talking of worldly knowledge, not knowledge of the infinite. Now when you acquire a lot of knowledge, no doubt you know so many things now. It gives you a certain amount of clarity. It gives you a lot of information. But now the question is, can knowledge satisfy all the aspects of life? The answer is no. With knowledge, can you buy emotions? No. With knowledge, can you buy sense objects? No. So there are so many aspects in life where knowledge cannot help. With knowledge, can you make your body healthy? No. For that, you need to do so many other things. Similarly, we'll talk of skills also. You acquire particular skills in life. Whatever skill you acquire, that wealth, will be very useful in achieving success in that particular field. But apart from that area of life, that skill will not be useful in other areas. That is why you find a person is very skillful in business, for example, so that person is very successful. But the same person may have a lot of issues with his or her spouse. That person will not know how to relate with others. So the skill which they have in that area is very useful in that area, but it is useless in other areas. So this question remains, what is the best form of wealth which you can acquire in life? I want you to think about this, because throughout your life there is a rat race. You're running around right from morning till night, acquiring so many things, but you don't have time to ask these basic questions. And if you probe into this, it will add so much of value to your life. It will bring back that spark in your life, you know. Now, when you really think about it, you may straight away say the infinite is the best form of wealth. Now that is at a higher level. But even from a relative level, what is the best form of wealth which can help you handle all the issues of life? See, when you acquire wealth, it is handling one area of life, the finance. When you acquire sense objects, one area of life, that is enjoyment. If you acquire relationships, another area of life, emotions. Like this, the skill, knowledge. Each one is taking care of one area of life. But what is that wealth which if you acquire will take care of your entire life in totality? That is this ancient wisdom. Why we are saying ancient wisdom is because that wisdom which deals with the eternal principles. Ancient wisdom means eternal wisdom. Those principles which don't change with time. So if you think about it, there are different aspects of the world which you're dealing with. But the common factor to all these aspects is you, the individual. And you as an individual, you have your mind, you have your intellect, the buddhi. In order to succeed in any area of your life, you require a very, very calm mind. And you also require a sharp intellect. So one is to have the technical knowledge, the technical skill in a particular field. But that alone will not give you success. In order to use that technical skill in that area and succeed, you require to tune your mind and intellect, because those are the equipments which you are constantly using to function in the world. See, right now Yogishri is giving this wisdom. Now, however much he may know, supposing, let us say, his mind is agitated, his intellect is not having that clarity, then he will not be able to present this wisdom in a structured way. He will not be able to present this wisdom properly. Like this, you can multiply, you can take the examples from your life. Whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or a businessman or a housewife or whatever it is. Now, when you're doing that activity, one is the skill pertaining to that activity. The other is the condition of your mind, that is whether your mind is calm or agitated, and the condition of your intellect, whether your intellect is sharp or whether it is confused, blunt. So, when your mind is calm and when your intellect is sharp, thereafter you get this capacity to acquire all the other wealths of life. A calm person and a sharp person, whose intellect is also very, very sharp and steady, can easily apply himself or herself and become wealthy. Such a person can become successful. Such a person will have wonderful relationships. See, what is it that spoils all your relationships? When your mind is agitated, you succumb to some negative emotion. That is when the relationship gets spoiled. So when you have a calm mind, your relationships will get enriched. And if you have a sharp intellect, you will know what is the psychology of the other person. So accordingly, you will do the right things. So naturally, the relationships will get strengthened. Similarly, when your mind is calm and when your intellect is sharp, you gain the ability to acquire more knowledge, the wealth of knowledge. If your mind is agitated, even right now, supposing your mind is agitated, you will not be able to get the messages which are being given here. That is why we start off by chanting Om. In the yogic approach, we always chant Om, and not in a mechanical way, but with full bhav, with full depth. And we attune ourselves to the infinite. That calms the mind instantly. And when the mind becomes calm, your intellect also becomes sharp and alert. Then you are in a position to acquire more knowledge. So if you want to develop a skill in life, whatever be that skill, whether it is dance or music or any skill, if your mind is agitated, you will not be able to acquire that skill. So what he is talking about here, it is a very, very fundamental type of wealth. It is the best form of wealth because this gives you the capacity to acquire all the other wealths of the world. Whatever it is that you want, you will be able to achieve. So that is why in the good old days, in the Gurukula system, they taught this higher wisdom, how to calm the mind and how to sharpen the intellect, along with the skills, along with the other technical knowledge. Unfortunately, in today's education system, the whole focus is on gaining the external knowledge. But what about the condition of the mind? What about the condition of the intellect? Nobody is bothered. So, this is the best form of wealth which you can acquire. And all the youngsters who are watching this, before you get on with life, you're gaining this wisdom, the yogic approach. Through the yogic approach, you're gaining the ancient wisdom in depth. Now, this is the best thing which you can do to yourself. Now, what is very interesting is, this is with regard to the worldly wealth. Now, with regard to spiritual wealth, which is getting connected with the infinite, which is merging with the infinite, becoming a sthita prajna. Again, when you have a calm mind, when you have a sharp and alert intellect, and you focus it inside, and you do the higher meditation, it will help you to evolve spiritually also. So that is why he is laying so much of stress, and he says, indeed, when the mind is tranquil, the intellect quickly becomes firm. These two aspects are extremely important. I wouldn't even say important, they are a necessity for you in your life. Because important means you have a choice, Just as breathing is a necessity, similarly, a calm mind, a sharp intellect is a necessity in life. See, you're doing everything in life except this. So you should allot at least 1 hour or 1.5 hours every day for your personal sadhana. What are we doing during sadhana? Every day I'm asking you to listen to Yoga Sankitan. Other forms of meditation material also I've provided, like in the Kaya Tattva. As we do more courses, more material I'll go on adding. But you should understand the basic reason why you're doing sadhana. When you do your sadhana every day, when you're exposing yourself to these higher vibrations every day, your mind will start becoming calm and you will become very, very sharp and alert in life. Your intellect will become very alert. With a calm mind and with a sharp intellect, when you go and interact in the world, when you go and do various actions, when you go and do your work, when you go and interact with people, whatever it is that you're doing, you will definitely succeed. Actually, even if you take the corporate ladder, see, everyone works for 24 hours a day, whether it's the CEO or the next level, the vice presidents and then the managers, like this, there are different grades. But why is it that as you move up the ladder, you're paid more? It is your ability to handle stress. It's your ability to handle pressure. That is what a person is being paid for. Think about it. A clerk is also working for, let us say, 8 to 10 hours a day. A CEO is also working for 8 to 10 hours a day. Then why is it that a CEO is paid more and a clerk is paid less? Because the CEO has taken up more responsibilities. More responsibilities means more pressure, more stress. And he or she has developed this habit of, or the ability to handle more pressure. Now, when you gain this wisdom, when your mind becomes calm and when your intellect becomes sharp, your ability to handle pressure will go on increasing. It will become infinite. Such a person can achieve anything which he wants. Of course, the key there is when you do your sadhana, as you acquire these powers, side by side, your mind also will get purified. Therefore, you will not use these powers in a wrong way. You will not misuse these powers, That also we are ensuring. That is what is the true goal or aim of sadhana. So today, after the session is over, you will anyway be recapitulating the points and all that in your mind. Whenever you get some spare time, when you're relaxed, it is not in the midst of some activity, but when you're just relaxed, just ask yourself, I'm acquiring so many things in life, but what have I done in terms of acquiring this great wealth which is there within me? And that is to calm my mind and to make my intellect more sharp. Just ask yourself this question. The direction to your sadhana will become much more clear. So he says, indeed, when the mind is tranquil, the intellect quickly becomes firm. Ashu means quickly. Ashu means quickly, immediately, directly. Now, so there is a direct relationship between the mind and the intellect, the emotions and thinking. See, we always think that emotions are separate and thinking is separate. No. They are actually not two different equipments, both the emotions and the intellect are a part of the mind only. One is the emotional mind, the other is the logical mind. That's all. The logical mind, we call it the intellect. The emotional mind, we call it manas, sometimes we call it mind, sometimes we call it emotion. See, different names are given. If you go to the Sanskrit meaning, the manas means buddhi also. Buddhi will mean manas also. So you'll get confused. So understand the concept within you. It's not a mere concept. Understand that all these things are different aspects of you. So a yogi, does he develop the emotions or does he develop the intellect? The answer to that is he develops both. Because in certain areas, emotions will be useful. In certain areas, thinking will be useful. See, we generally have a tendency to divide and compartmentalize everything. So even when it comes to sadhana, we say bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, they are only different approaches, taking care of different aspects of your personality. But you can never say, I'm following jnana yoga, I'm not going to follow bhakti yoga, I'll not follow karma yoga, or vice versa. You can never say that. A yogi is one who is an all-rounder. He does, see, when it is required to act, he will act very, very efficiently. When it's required to give emotions and receive emotions, he will become so full of emotions. He will become emotional, but with full awareness, with full consciousness. Generally, when you become emotional, you lose your intellect, you lose your awareness. But when I say awareness, control, But a yogi with full control, he becomes emotional. It's like a paradox. But when you achieve that only, you're a yogi. And wherever thinking is required, analysis is required, he analyzes there. Where it is not required, he doesn't waste his time analyzing. Wherever a decision has to be made, he applies his thinking and takes a firm decision. So he is an all-rounder. That is why when you go to a yogi, he will reflect your personality. Supposing you ask him deep questions, very, very high intellectual questions, he will just like that be able to answer all that in a very simple way, because truly speaking, clarity means it is simplicity in thinking, Now, if you are very, very emotional and you require inspiration, he will be able to give you so much of love, affection. Now, if you're very active, he'll help you to act better. How is that? Because he doesn't confine himself to being a bhakta or a karma yogi or a jnani or a raja yogi. There are different segments. Now, each one generally confines himself or herself to one particular approach. But a yogi is one who doesn't confine himself to any one particular approach. He uses all the approaches. It is an integral approach. The yogic approach is always integral. Later on, that is what Krishna will be telling Arjuna. It is yogi bhavarjuna, be a yogi. A yogi is superior to a jnani. He'll say a yogi is superior to a karmi. A yogi is superior to a bhakta. This is what Krishna says in one of the verses. Therefore, be a yogi. What does he mean by saying a yogi is superior to a jnani? There is no competition. He is just analyzing and giving out facts. He says a yogi is one who has that integral approach. So he is able to use that aspect of this wisdom whenever it is required. So when the mind is tranquil, quickly the intellect becomes firm. There's a direct relationship. Why he is using the word ashu is because these two go hand in hand. Whenever your mind is calm, your intellect becomes alert. Reverse also, your intellect can be alert only when your mind is calm. See, if your mind is disturbed, your thinking capacity reduces. I've seen some very, very brilliant people in their fields sometimes making mistakes when their minds are disturbed. So that gives you a clue, that gives you a sadhana tipple. So how do you check whether you're getting into a state of true calmness? Simple. When your mind is calm, the intellect will become very sharp and alert. So there is a difference between a calm mind and a sleepy or drowsy mind. A sleepy mind is tamasic. One person asked me, he said, "Sir, whenever I drink a peg of alcohol, my mind immediately calms down completely, Now that is not true calmness, because your intellect actually loses its sharpness. You really don't know what you're talking. When you're under the influence of alcohol, you don't know what you're doing. Your intellect loses its awareness. So that is not true calmness. So he is giving a very, very important criteria by using the word ashu. Ashu means the immediately, fast, So both go hand in hand. There is a direct relationship. So if you say that I am doing my Yoga Sankitan sadhana every day, I'm feeling very, very calm nowadays. Some people tell me, Yogishri, nowadays I'm feeling so calm. Are you alert throughout your day when you're functioning in life? Are you able to do your duties better? If that aspect is not there, then whatever calmness you're claiming is not true calmness. You're just in a drowsy state, in a tamasic state. So if you do your sadhana properly, if you follow the instructions given by the Guru in the right way, these two things will happen to you. You will feel more and more calmness and peace within yourself, and your ability to act in the world will also increase. The moment you have this tendency to escape from the world, then that is not calmness. One girl, she was telling me, this happened 2 or 3 years back. Actually, I have heard this from others also, but this girl told me directly. She was saying, Yogishri, I'm listening to Yoga Sankitan every day, and nowadays I'm unable to relate with people. She thought I'll be very impressed and I'll praise her, saying that, oh, you've come to that level, you're vibrating at such a high frequency that you're unable to relate with others. But I just told her the opposite. I said, then whatever Yoga Sankitan sadhana you're doing, you're not doing it properly. Because if you do the sadhana properly, it will help you to relate with others better. So this is also a form of ego, thinking that now I am vibrating at a higher frequency, all others are at a lower frequency, I am unable to relate with them and all that. Okay? So this is the powerful message of this verse. So now we will go to the next verse. Nasti buddhirayuktasya
Nasti buddhirayuktasya
nachayuktasya bhavana
nachayuktasya bhavana
nacha bhavayata shantihi
nacha bhavayata shantihi
ashantasya kutah sukham
ashantasya kutah sukham
nasti buddhihi ayuktasya. Nasti means na asti. Buddhihi means there is no intellect. For whom? Ayuktasya, for one who is not united. Yukta means one who is united. Ayukta means the person who is not united. This is another very powerful verse. So I'm first translating and then we'll go into the deeper aspects. So there is no intellect for the one who is not united. Nacha yuktasya bhavanaha. Nacha means and. Ayuktasya na bhavana means for the one who is not united, there is no bhavana. The translation here for bhavana is faith, but the one word in English cannot do justice to that word bhavana. It has so many dimensions. It's such a powerful word, you know. So there is no intellect for the one who is not united, ayukta. And for the one who is not united, there is no faith also. There is no bhavana. Whenever you do anything, I keep on saying, no, you should do it with bhavana. You should do it with bhavana. We'll see in this verse what is bhavana and how you can go on purifying your bhavana. And then he continues, nacha bhavayatah shantihi. Nacha abhavayatah. That is, for one who does not have bhavana, for one who does not have faith, he says, na shantihi. There is no peace. Another word he uses for peace, shantihi. And then he says, ashantasya kuta sukham. For the person without peace, who is in a state of ashanti, ashanti means the opposite of shanti. How can there be happiness, sukham? He is putting it in the form of a question. So there is no intellect for the one who is not united, number one. And for the one who is not united, there is no faith, no bhavana. And for the one who has no bhavana, there is no peace, shantihi. And for the person without peace, how can there be sukham, happiness? So when he says, how can there be sukham, it is a question he is asking. Through that question, he is giving a message. That person will only be facing dukkham, sorrow. The opposite of sukham is dukkham, sorrow. So before we get into the deeper aspects of the verses, if you just see the approach, the deeper aspects of these statements, if you just see the general approach, that is the approach in verse number 65 and this verse number 66, you see a slight difference in the way he is putting things. See, in verse number 65, what did he say? First of all, both these verses are verses for increasing your motivation. These are all inspirational verses. When you get into the depth of these verses, your motivation will increase so much. Your enthusiasm and inspiration will increase tremendously. Now, in verse 65, he directly said, what will happen to you if you do sadhana? Your mind will become tranquil, all the sorrows will be destroyed, dukkham will be destroyed, the mind will become tranquil, the intellect will become sharp. So this is one way of motivating you, motivating yourself. Whenever you get into something, what will happen if I do this? And the more you list down the benefits, the more motivated you will become to do that particular activity. Now, in this verse, he is using a slightly different approach. What will you miss if you don't do sadhana? One is to say, what will you get if you do sadhana? The other one is, what will you miss if you don't do sadhana? He says, if you are not united, you will not have intellect, which means you will miss the intellect. You will miss the bhavana. You will not get the right bhavana. And when you don't have bhavana, he says you will miss shanti, peace. And when you miss peace, when you don't have peace, where is the question of having happiness? Which means you will be sorrowful, dukkham. So this is another way of increasing motivation. So different approaches you can have in order to motivate yourself. See, whenever you want to motivate yourself, one approach will not help. You have to learn all the different approaches and then use them as and when they require. I'll cover the three ways by which you can motivate yourself. The first way is when you directly say what dangers are there if you avoid doing the right things, or rather, if you do the wrong things, what are the dangers? Like he said, no, buddhi nashat pranashyati, in one of the earlier verses. When your intellect is lost, when your mind is not calm, it all starts with that. And when your thinking also goes away, pranashyati means total destruction. So when you do the wrong things, what negative results will come to you? That is one approach. Now this approach is generally not used. It is used only when you're in a very tamasic frame of mind, where you're unable to control yourself even a little bit from doing those things which are extremely harmful to you. So the first is the method where the ill effects of doing harmful things are used, that is, are told to you, so that you get motivated. Motivated to do what? Motivated to stop that negative path which you're taking. This is applicable only in those areas where your mind is uncontrollably going towards those things which can cause tremendous problems in your life. Like, for example, an alcoholic or a drug addict. I am giving extreme examples of alcoholic and drug addicts, but this is applicable in any area of life. Like a person is being extremely lazy, or a person is being very highly, indulgent, or a person is not, is earning but is not saving money at all. Let us say he or she is just being a spendthrift, due to which you can clearly see that that person is going to have financial issues in the future. And that person is unable to control that negative tendency. At that time, that method is used where a strong force, a strong statement is made, where if you continue in this path, you will face problems, you will face destruction. That is to develop motivation to stop something negative, to stop something which you're doing which is negative and harmful to your life. Now, the next way of motivating is if you do the positive thing, if you do this particular activity, what are all the benefits you will gain? That will immediately uplift you, motivate you. And then this approach is also there, the third approach, where if you slip, if you don't do this, then what will you miss? The wonderful, wonderful things which can happen to you, all those things you will miss. Now, where this approach will help you also, I'll tell you. Sometimes what happens is, when you don't do a negative action and you're just leading a kind of a mechanically good life, I'm putting good in quotes, just what a person says as normal living, then you don't get the motivation to do something extra. It's a kind of a contentment which you get into, and that contentment is not the supreme contentment of the infinite. It is more of, it becomes an impediment to your growth, You compromise with mediocrity and say, this is enough for me. Now, that will prevent you from growing. In such cases, this approach will be very, very useful. Because the question which the mind will ask is, right now I am not doing all these things, but in spite of that, my life is going on fine. No, but if you don't do this, you're missing so much in life. So, Krishna, being a supreme master, is an avatar. So he uses all these three approaches in different contexts so that the sadhaks will get motivated. So when you see the approach of a master, how he motivates the students is like this only. Whenever he finds the students getting into a negative train of thinking or activities which can be very harmful, the master exposes the ill effects of that path which that student is taking. No doubt it may be use of certain negative language, but that negative language helps in that particular case to stop the flow. And whenever he finds a student very eager, he immediately uses the approach of verse number 65. He says, if you do more sadhana, you will get this, you will get that, a lot of benefits, So the student becomes more inspired and motivated to do sadhana. And whenever he finds a student getting into a kind of a content state, a kind of a satisfied state which prevents further growth, when the student does not see any necessity of doing the sadhana, then the master uses the approach of verse number 66, which we are going to see. That is, there is no doubt your life is going on fine today, but your life can be much, much better if you do these things. Or rather, if you don't do these things, you're missing so much. You know, a person who was a very successful businessman, he came and met me. This happened, if I'm right, almost 8 years back. And he asked me this question. He said, "Sir, I happened to hear your talk. It was very inspiring. But I have this question, that is, I have already achieved so much in my life. Then what is the necessity for this wisdom as far as my worldly success goes?" Yes, if you say self-realization, that is a different thing. But the relative knowledge, why should I gain it all? Because I've already achieved so much, which is a fact, because he was a self-made person. He had started from scratch, and he had when he met me, he had already built a huge business empire. So then what I told him is, "Sir, no doubt you have achieved so much in life, but that is all in comparison with others. What have you achieved in reference to what you can achieve? Means, what is the human potential?" You know, the great Newton, when he was felicitated, Newton was such a great scientist, so knowledgeable. What he said was, "What is my knowledge compared to my ignorance? What I know is very little. But what I don't know is so vast." That was the way he was motivating himself to gain more knowledge. That is why he was such a great scientist. So what is the reference point? If you have achieved something in life today, usually the reference point is others who have not achieved anything. Like they say, the one-eyed man is a king of a place where people don't have any eyesight at all. A one-eyed man is a king of the blind. It's a famous saying. You must have heard of that. So whenever you get into a state of this feeling that I have achieved so much, life is going on very fine, this method will help. Because when you get into that feeling, you will quickly stop doing your sadhana, because you will not find any necessity. There is no immediate pressure. So at that time, if I don't do, what am I missing? You should raise your reference point in life. See, generally, when you keep your reference point outside you as somebody who has not achieved anything, you will never grow. If you keep your reference point high within yourself, then you will keep on growing. So however much you have achieved, what is the human potential? What is my knowledge compared to my ignorance? As he said, what have I achieved? And what is the human potential? When you make a comparison, your achievement will become infinitesimal, nothing actually. So that is the method which he is using in this verse. So what is he saying in this verse? We'll have an overview today, the general idea of what he's saying in this verse, and then in the coming weeks we'll go into more depth. So there is no intellect for the one who is not united. Means he's using the word ayukta. Yukta means united, a person who is integrated, a person who does not allow his energy to fritter away. Yukta is a synonym of yoga. yogi. Yogi means one who is united. Yukta also means one who is united. So when you are not united to positive things in life, when you are not united to your goal, when you don't have a goal in life, you have no purpose. Then he says there is no buddhi, there is no intellect, there is no alertness. See, when you don't have any goal in life, the life will just go on without any purpose. There is no spark in your life. So there is no opportunity for the intellect to become sharp and grow. That is what he means. There is no buddhi for a person who is not united. Means ayukta means a non-yogi. See, when we use the word non-yogi, it becomes very easy for you to understand. The different dimensions of yukta and all that we'll see as we go along. But first you need to get an overview. And not only that, he says when you are not a yukta, when you are not united, there is no bhavana. Bhavana means there is no sincerity in whatever you are doing. You will not give your best in your actions. You know, if you just find out when you're doing various things in life, how much of your energies are you putting behind your actions? When your energies are frittered away, are distracted, you're not a united person, you're not an integrated person, then you will not be fully available for you to act with that passion, act with that concentration, act with full bhavana, feeling. See, a yogi is one who has tremendous bhavana in anything which he does. If he is speaking, he'll speak with full force, with so much of feeling and passion that it influences the other person's mind. If he is not speaking, if he is quiet, he merges with that silence with full bhavana. And that silence will start radiating so much of peace and the higher vibrations to everyone around. When he is in the world doing some activity, he will do it fully. See, having bhavana from the yogic parlance means this: either you do something or you don't do something. Either you do something means you do it fully, with full mind, with full heart, with full passion, with full thinking, putting all your energies behind that, or you don't do something. Never be in between. Don't do things in a half-hearted manner. A yogi is very decisive about saying yes or no to something. If he says yes, it will be a full yes. If he says no, it will be a full no. See, when we have these higher empowerment courses, why am I keeping the registration? I told them, let them fill a form, let them give it, and then let them commit, saying that I'm going to attend this by registering. Why? Because I want you to come with full bhavana. Because those courses will be taken with full bhavana. Actually, the principle of a yogi is always to give much more than what he takes. But when you are lacking in bhavana, if you come in a half-hearted way or in a casual way and all that, you will miss all the benefits. You will miss that higher Shakti, that higher energy. So, it is for a person who is ayukta, there is no bhavana, there is no faith, there is no passion. The feeling itself is missing. He or she will do things in a half-hearted way. And for a person who has no bhavana, there is no shanti, peace. You know, when you do something in a full-fledged way, and then after completing it, when you sit, you will sit with so much of peace. When you do things in a half-hearted way, now there will always be many unresolved issues in life. So when you sit, you will not be peaceful. All the incomplete things in your life, those things which you have neglected, those unfinished work will all come and disturb your peace. That is what he says. That Shanti will not be there for a person who has no bhavana. And for a person who has no Shanti, he says, how can there be happiness? How can you hope to be happy in life? Sukham. Shanti is that inner peace. Sukham is with respect to external enjoyment. How can you enjoy the world? You will only be sorrowful in the world. When your mind is not peaceful, you cannot enjoy the world outside. It is not in the number of things which you have acquired. It is in how you contact those things that we can say whether you're getting sukham or dukkham. See, when you're very peaceful inside, even simple food will be like amrita, will be like nectar for you. When you're highly disturbed inside, you may have the best of food outside. I'm giving an example of food. You may have the best of things with you. You may have the best car, you may have a beautiful house, you may have a wonderful partner, lovely children. All these things may be there, but you will not experience sukham, you will not experience happiness. Because internally, your mind is in a state of ashanti. There is no peace. So when he says, how can there be sukham? It means what you will be experiencing is dukkham, sorrow. When you're very peaceful inside, with minimum things in life itself, you will be so happy. Every further thing which you get will be an extra, it will be an addition. A simple thing like drinking a glass of water, how much of enjoyment is there. And you take the water and just sip it and drink it. It's so enjoyable. But problem is you don't have a peaceful mind to enjoy that today. I've read a poem. When I was very young, I happened to read this poem where the poet says, he says, I am so rich. How? He says, because the sun is shining for me. And in the night time, the moon is there, which has a very cooling effect. The stars are all shining. It is all for me to enjoy. The breeze is blowing so that I can enjoy life. He goes on, in a very, very poetic way. It is a beautiful poem. Now today you don't have that mind to enjoy these things in life. Why? Because that shanti is gone. That peace is gone. So when you're peaceful, you will start enjoying every bit of your life. When the sun is rising, you will feel so joyful. When the sun is setting again, you will feel so joyful. You will enjoy the day. You will enjoy the night also. Both equally. And for a person who does not have sukham, the worldly happiness, if you're unable to even enjoy things in the world, how can you get the infinite happiness? When you try and meditate, all those things which are disturbing you, which cause sorrows in your life, will come and not allow you to meditate. So a yogi's life is a complete life. Paripurnam. Paripurnam means totally complete. Completely complete. It's very difficult to translate, a full life. He leads 100% spiritual life inside, 100% worldly life outside. He will be attuned with the infinite and he will feel that supreme peace from within. And when it comes to the world, he will have the capacity to get the best of best. Whatever is required, he will get all that and he will enjoy that also. That is the life of a yogi. The concept which you have about a yogi today is one of a person who is leading a dry life, who doesn't enjoy life. Here he says, enjoyment is the key factor of yoga. Two words are there. Yoga means yoga, union. Bhoga means enjoyment. So we think they both are opposite. No. When you are a yogi, you also become a bhogi. Means you get the capacity to enjoy the world also. It's a very, very powerful verse. If you understand this, even superficially, it will motivate you. Then when we go to the depth, how much of power it can give you, just imagine. So these are the things which you're looking for in life. You're wanting peace of mind within. You want to acquire more things in life, become more successful in life and enjoy the world. He says, both are possible only with sadhana. See, that combination is possible only with sadhana. When you don't do sadhana, you will be internally peaceful, but as I told you, that will be a tamasic peace. Externally, you will have no capacity to succeed. Or you may be externally successful, like many people are, but they are all highly stressed. So even though they achieve success in life, they acquire so many things, they are unable to enjoy that with a peaceful mind. Then what is the use of getting so many things? It is only from outside people think, oh, this person has this very high-end car and he's driving. But the person who's sitting inside and driving is very miserable. So from this moment onwards, a small sadhana tip I'm giving you. I'll explain that further also in the coming weeks. But you can start that practice. That is, start enjoying very, very ordinary things in life, simple things in life, like drinking a glass of water. Whatever food is given to you, eating it with full enjoyment. You're sitting on your sofa, just enjoy that. You're lying down on your bed and sleeping, enjoy that. Make the small things of your life so pleasurable, full of happiness. I told you, life is anubhavadhara, the flow of experiences. If all these small experiences become happy, then your whole life will become very, very happy. So the small sadhana you practice, apart from the other one which I told you, that is when you get time, ask yourself, what is the highest, the best wealth I can get, and what time and effort am I investing in order to acquire that. That I told you. And then this also. Start enjoying small things in your life. I'll expand on this further because this verse, he uses many words here, like buddhi is there. First, ayukta, what it means by being united. We'll be seeing that. And then the buddhi is there. The bhavana is there. Shanti is there. These are all elements. Then sukham. See, when you add these things into your life, your whole life will get transformed. It will take a better turn. It is adding so much of value to your life. It's like adding salt in your food. When there is no salt, there is no taste. The salt may be a little bit, but it gives the taste. Tasteless food, if you're taking, what is the use? Similarly, a dry life is not a yogi's life. A yogi's life is one of fun and frolic. He is always full of cheer and enthusiasm. Otherwise, life is not worth it. So if you're coming to the Bhagavad Gita discourse, if you're listening to these Sunday discourses in a very sorrowful way like this, some people, they are listening to this. That is of no use. The message of Krishna, the message of these great masters is one of happiness, smile and cheer. So absorb that energy. Okay, so we'll stop with this today. We'll go into the depth of this verse in the coming weeks. Now, before we do the meditation, I'll take up one or two questions. See, many questions are being said to me. Now, I'm taking up those questions which are directly related to the topic or which are useful in one's sadhana. The other questions I'll take up whenever the context comes. So the question which has been asked by Rama Vinod in the YouTube comment section, she has put it as, Pranam Yogishri, if the intellect attaches to a person out of love, how to overcome it? There is a small confusion there. The first thing is the intellect does not get attached. It is only the mind which gets attached. Here, what I mean by mind is the emotions. Attachment itself is the root of the emotions. Now, what you're asking is, out of love, if I get attached, how to overcome it? Whatever you're calling as love is actually not love. Love is exactly the opposite of attachment. When you don't have true love, only you will get attached. When you have true love, you will give the other person the necessary freedom. Whenever you are attached to someone, you will try to control that person. Your focus shifts from that person's happiness to your happiness. See, like for example, if you take your own family, you can either be attached or you can have love. Or it is relative. To the extent you are attached, to that extent you will not have love. Love means unconditional love. The moment there are conditions, it is attachment. So love makes you free. It liberates you. It liberates the other person also. Attachment binds you. It binds the other person also. So think about this. Love and attachment are exactly opposite. So what you're calling as love is actually attachment only. It's actually selfishness. Just think on these lines. We'll see more as we go along. Okay? So now we'll do meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I'm feeling more and more relaxed. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this intellect. I am that Supreme Self. My mind is in a state of perfect tranquility. My intellect is extremely alert and sharp. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So we had a very powerful and deep session today. So as I was telling you, the tranquility of the mind, the sharpness of the intellect, that is the greatest wealth which you can have, which you can acquire. So it is a must that you invest time on a daily basis for yourself so that you can do your sadhana and acquire this wealth. Once you have this, you can achieve any kind of wealth, whether it is worldly or whether it is spiritual. By spiritual, I mean the highest wealth, which is the experience of God realization. But this is the key. Okay? So before we end, there is a small announcement. The 22-day course, which many people were requesting whether it can be made available again, that is now available. They have made the system ready, and I've meditated a lot and energized it. So when you're watching it, you will receive the empowerment. There is so much of work which I've done with these videos, so that it gives the effect of the empowerment. So it is available in the website under online courses. So those of you who may have missed it and who want to do it can do so, and even others, if you want to repeat the course, you can do so. The thing is, follow the rules. This 22-day course, we have given 30 days time for you to complete. So if you follow it with minimum breaks, you will get maximum benefit. And the second announcement is regarding the Yoga Sankitan empowerment. So as I told you last week, it's going to be for 5 days. It's going to be very, very powerful. So my request is, all of you, don't skip your sadhana. Do your Yoga Sankitan on a daily basis. Those who attended the health program can follow the other schedule, which includes those meditation materials which I had given, so that your vibrations don't come down. The more powerful your vibrations are, your receptivity will also increase so much. I am here to give you this infinite wealth, but you should do your sadhana and qualify yourself. You should do your sadhana and become more receptive. Okay? Thank you very much. Hari Om.